that's what complimentary football looks like, to be honest with you. And that's what I'm most proud of right now. I mean, there's nothing better than sending these seniors out of here the right way. I know this isn't, the end-all, be-all, and it's been a battle, ups and downs, and been a rough year, as you guys all know. But you got to play your best ball at the end of the year if you're going to move in the right direction, and that's what we're starting to do in different ways. But that was a really, really good game for us tonight. I mean, in all three phases of what we need to do to be successful, to be the top 25 team, and I think the game was won up front more than anything. And not just, I know that their stats are going to show the defensive line, Daryl Peterson and Mason Reiger and those guys were really dominant tonight. But I think on both sides of the ball, our ability to control and win the line of scrimmage is really the difference in the ball game.
You kind of mentioned there in your opening statement, but do you feel like that was the most complete win or the complete game you guys have had throughout the season in terms of all three phases and just complimentary football?
Off the top, yes, I do. The one thing that you note, I mean, like, the game is really difficult if you think you're going to have 16 play drives like we did in the first touchdown. I'm not saying they're not great. I mean, I don't know how many minutes that was, but that is old school Wisconsin football. But then to see a 75, 80-yard run that we just have not seen this year, those big plays that, not only generate energy and momentum, but I mean, like, give you a different boost and make people play in a different way. And that's just something that we've really, really struggled with, not just this year, but in multiple years, in the last couple of years. And so it was really good to be able to see that. And then obviously the special teams is a big part of it too. I mean, those field goals are really big, and Vakos did a great job tonight with everything that he did. And I think that's where you start to see the difference. Like, those things add up. You miss one of those, it's a different ball game. The momentum and energy in a lot of different ways. So definitely the most complete, all three phases, what complimentary ball looks like.
Along the lines of complimentary football, your red zone defense, I think they were in there 3 times. They only got 1 touchdown. Can you speak to the value?
Yeah, we needed to get better in the red zone, and then that was huge. And I think that stop down there when we were up 10 to hold them to a field goal was huge. And obviously the guys played well, but I give a lot of credit to the coaches too. I mean, Mike Tressel and those guys had a really good game plan and had recognized where we were going to need to be really successful in the red zone, because that's where they've been as good as anybody. I mean, Altmaier, when he gets to the red zone, his ability to run the football, his ability to throw the football, they're really creative down there. And I think that's where, in my mind, the game was going to come down to. If we could win in the red zone, we'd have a hell of a lot better chance. And I thought we did a great job of that tonight.
Luke, I know we asked about him recently too, but Daryl Peterson, just how is he emblematic of kind of the fight you like to see from those seniors especially? And kind of like you said about Barton, is this potentially, hey, he could really be helping himself for his future potentially as well?
They both are. There's no doubt. A lot of these seniors are. I mean, I know that it doesn't look great all the time, but there's a lot of guys that are really continuing to grow and giving themselves great opportunities, along with Mason Reiger. I mean, But as a whole, for us, the leadership of that senior group is the difference, to be honest with you. And I challenged them last week. I told you guys last week when I came into the press conference, I was really disappointed, and I was disappointed in just the competitive spirit for the second half of having that nastiness to be able to try to finish something. And it was the first time since I think in the last 3 years that somebody stepped up before we left at halftime and kind of. It wasn't me that had to kind of lead and give a little something. Daryl Peterson stepped up and said, this is exactly what Coach has been talking about that nasty competitive nature, to be able to go out and finish something. And we need to see it from us tonight. And I didn't have to do a whole lot. And I told him it means a hell of a lot more when it comes from them.
Two-parter about quarterback position. Obviously not necessarily the story of the game, but, what did you see from Carter in terms of being able to complement what you guys were able to do on the ground? And what does Hunter kind of give you as you kind of use him in those kind of last minute?
Yeah, they asked me as we came out after halftime and said, which quarterback are you going with? And I'm like, well, that was just kind of a uniqueness of hey, there's a 2-minute situation here, and it's kind of fits into Hunter's strong suits, and so we put him in there and have the utmost confidence that he's going to protect the football and give us an opportunity, and he did. But I thought Carter played well tonight. I mean, continues to grow. You continues to recognize what it is that we need to do to be successful, and that starts with taking care of the football. But it also is we have to be able to throw the ball, and you got to be able to throw the ball down the field at some point in time. I don't know that we connected on any of those. I know the one to Lance Mason would have been huge, but nonetheless, there were some opportunities, and I thought he played a really smart football game for a young quarterback that knows he wants to show us and show everybody what all he can do.
Luke, for as good as Daryl Peterson has always been with us and answering questions, I don't know that I thought he would be the guy that steps up in the locker room. Did that surprise you and when he spoke
No,
up?
I've seen a growth from Daryl, to be honest with you. And I don't just mean – we asked him to play a different position. We asked him to do some different things in the last year. We asked him to, get bigger, to try to play the end into the boundary, and thought it would be better for him, and asked him to, not say redo his game, but really add a element of discipline to some of the things that he does that was going to vote well for us, and in the long run was going to vote well for him too. And everything we've asked him to do, he's continued to do. And I'll be honest, I stood him up there in the locker room afterwards to say, hey, I appreciate you stepping up for the first time and actually taking some leadership during a game at halftime, kind of reiterating the things that everybody in here knows we need to be able to do, but taking the ownership enough to be able to step up and do it. And no, it's a great example of what this game is. This is 18 to 22-year-olds that are still growing. They're young men going into grown men, and there's opportunities for these guys to continue to learn even in a really, really tough environment, a tough season. It's going to mean a hell of a lot to them in their future.
So I know it's not been the season Tretch has wanted, but that fourth quarter came with big completion and run, and then the 25-yard run. What did you see from him?
I think
in this
everybody recognizes that, especially at the wide receiver position. I called Vinny Anthony in this week and just told him how much I appreciate him and spent some time with him because, Vinny's a guy that I think has put himself in a position to continue to play this game when it's all said and done. But you haven't been able to see a lot of those things just from the nature of where we are offensively. And Tretch is the same way. And I hope that Tretch understands and recognizes, how much trust and faith we have in him. I think maybe the first play of the game he got the ball, fumbled it, we recovered it, but yet we didn't think that okay, we better take him out of the game plan of some sorts. Things happen like that. Take care of the football. We trust you, and there's going to be more opportunities for you as we move forward. And I don't know how many catches he had, a few, but anytime we can get the ball in his hands, man, he can make some things happen. And I think that all those kind of things add up to give us a better opportunity to run the football and to give us a better opportunity for a young freshman quarterback to be successful.
Coach, I think after the Maryland game, you had talked about pounding the rock. Just in the aftermath of a game like this, what has that philosophy, pounding the rock, meant to you guys?
It's exactly who we need to be and who we have continued to be. And the truth of the matter is sometimes you pound the rock and nothing happens. And for quite a while, there wasn't a whole lot happening. But those shots, they take a toll. And I'm not lying to you. When I tell you that the attitude in that locker room, and I don't just mean today after a win. I mean that attitude in the locker room after the Maryland game, after a stretch that's been really, really difficult. There has been a resiliency. There has been a mental toughness that, and again, I've never been in one of these situations. This is a new situation for me, and it's been very, very difficult. But the only thing that keeps me going is what those guys have done every single day, and that's what pounding the rock is not really recognizing or seeing some of the things that are going to happen, but at some point in time, that thing's going to break, and it doesn't break and then it just gushes at times. It breaks and then there's another piece to it like last week, and they keep pounding, and good things are going to happen and good things will happen, and that's what happened tonight.
Kind of on a similar note, when you struggle like this team has at times right now, confidence in each other can wane, and then finger pointing happens. How does this team avoided that? It seems like
I can tell you this: there's been no finger pointing that I've seen. And I walk through the locker room, I try to look. Whether it's after games or it's last week after games, if there's one thing that I have not seen or felt is that. And I can't say that as we got to the end last year because it was not the same feeling. And these guys have done a great job, and that's what I mean. I think that has a lot to do with leadership. I think that has a lot to do with, having that resiliency to recognize, what pounding the rock really looks like and means. I talked at the beginning of the year about competitive maturity. That's probably because I knew that this mountain was going to be quite a mountain to climb. I didn't know it was going to be as steep as it has been. But a lot of the things I was talking about was our ability to be able to handle some slips and falls. We've had a few more than maybe I expected or we wanted, but nonetheless, the competitive maturity that these guys have continued to have, and I mean so with the seniors and Daryl Peterson, Mason Reiger, who's been here for 7 or 8 months. I mean, these guys, this means something different than sometimes people think. Everybody thinks this new age world of what college football is, and you have all these one-year guys, and man, there's still things that can be done inside that locker room, even with one-year guys and with a mixture of a lot of different people, even in some really tough times. That's special.
Just watching guys' body language out there, it seems like maybe not just even tonight, but it seems like guys are getting their, maybe swagger back, or it's growing. Do you sense that, and is there a value to that?
I think when you see some positives, yeah, but I think that happens when you see some big plays. I think that happens when you when you see what things we have continued to preach about complementary football. When you see things go back and forth, it builds a confidence of everybody, right? You make a play on special teams, and you can see the confidence of the defense. You make a play on offense, and you can see the confidence of the defense. You get a turnover on defense, and you can see the confidence from the offense. Like, these things are contagious. These things exist within that aren't just one-sided. And, we haven't seen a ton of it because it's been, difficult. It's been one-sided. Maybe the defense has played well, or maybe we had some good special teams, and, maybe the offense has struggled and turned the ball over. And not that they've been pointing fingers, but it's hard, even if you're playing well defensively, to have that energy and to have that excitement. Sometimes you just have to go about doing your job. And whether that's important, it's not nearly as fun.
Darian Dupree obviously has a big game, but part of the O-line opening up a lot of holes for him. Just what is going right there is that unit actually has had the same vibe over the last few weeks.
There's a growth, and where they've struggled at a lot of times, I think that the consistency over the last few weeks, I think, has helped those guys as much as anything. And look, I'm not kidding you guys when we say that. When your quarterback goes down in the first game and you try to continue to shape the offense around what you think is best for him as he gets back, it does stymie your growth. And then all of a sudden, you're going back and forth with saying, okay, well, maybe this week we got to do what Danny does, but then maybe next week this guy will be back. And so offensively, it's been really difficult for those guys to kind of hone in. And I think the bye week was the first time we said, look, here's where we got to go. We got to do what Danny does. And then we got to give Carter an opportunity because he's the next thing that's closest to what Danny does. And this way it'll give us a chance to move the offense forward and, see what we can do by the end of the year. And, I think that's been a really difficult situation, but I think that we've seen a growth over the last 4 weeks that actually helps the entire team.
You saw Cade Giacomelli come back after a couple of weeks being out with injury. Didn't play on offense, but he played on special teams. Is he just kind of working his way back on offense?
He is. There's some some things we're trying to be smart with and safe and keep him out of too many shots in harm's way. But hopefully that a week like this will put him in a better position to have a bigger role, maybe even offensively next week. But it's nice to have him back.
Coach, the emotions tonight, senior night, it was pretty evident. Jaden Ballard was really emotional coming through the tunnel, but I've talked to 30-odd different players this year. Not one guy did not say that this was the right team, the right place, the right scheme for them. What does it mean to you to have 31 guys come out of that tunnel tonight with the same message?
It means we're doing something right. And I think that that's where not everybody can see it. Maybe you see it on a night like tonight. But whether it's been hard for all of us, I think the thing that has kept us going, and I mean everybody, is that there has been a growth from within. You've seen guys in particular, I think the hardest position is the wide receiver position. I know for us on this team right now, the hardest position is the wide receiver position. Just where we've been with the quarterback, what we've wanted to do offensively is give those guys greater opportunities. So, to make big plays, to spread the field, to loosen things up. And it's just been a real struggle for us. And a guy like Jaden, who came here with some high expectations and not getting nearly as many of those opportunities, but I think nonetheless he also has felt, what a brotherhood looks like and feels like, and I think it means something.